Welcome to Davidtree's Love Who You Are podcast. If you're new to Davidtree, we certify meditation teachers and offer online courses in yoga for anxiety and teaching yoga to children. Davidtree's been a leader in the wellness industry for almost 30 years. I'm your host, Candice Lapointe. Join me as I connect with insightful guests who share the surprising places their meditation, yoga, and wellness journey have taken them. Navigating the human experience can feel perilous at times, but our guests share how embracing their radical uniqueness and applying self-compassion can change everything. Hi, beautiful humans. Welcome back to the Love Who You Are podcast, where we drop the hustle, tune into the heart, and explore all the magical, messy, and meaningful ways we come home to ourselves. Today's episode is a true gift for anyone who's been caught in the whirlwind of doing, the going. I have a feeling I'm not the only one. So let me ask you this. What if rest isn't a reward, but a radical act of self-love? I'm absolutely thrilled to be joined by the radiant Cindy deJong, our in-house restorative yoga educator, who is also a Reiki master and an all-around wisdom keeper. Cindy brings a powerful invitation to slow down, settle in, and rediscover the sacredness of stillness through restorative yoga. Cindy's go-to breath practice is recalibration breath, and you can learn all about it in our blog, The Rest Revolution. In this conversation, we explore the terrain that can surface when we slow down, the emotional layers that rise in the quiet, the unexpected healing that unfolds when we stop trying to hold it all together, and how the nervous system isn't just a sciencey term, but a real-life portal to peace when we learn how to work with it. And let me tell you, Cindy brings stories, laughter, vulnerability, and soul. She shares how her own journey of unlearning hustle culture, meeting discomfort with compassion, and how walking daily with her beloved dog Lucy became a profound practice in presence and connection. So, whether you're someone who's curious about slowing down but finds it really difficult, or just a human trying to breathe a little easier, this episode is for you. Grab a cozy blanket, maybe a cup of tea, and give yourself full permission to sink into this moment. Because today, we're reminding ourselves that healing doesn't always come from doing more. Sometimes it arrives in the soft, quiet space of simply being. Let's dive in. Thanks so much for coming today, Cindy. It's so good to have you on the podcast. It's fabulous to have you here and just, catching up with you beforehand about where we're at in life and all the things that are going down. It always just felt like such an easy thing to do with you. You just have that light and that energy that allows people to express themselves without judgment. It's such an honor to have you here because we want to chat about restorative yoga. And so this is a delicious, delicious lineage, a delicious vein of yoga. And did you kind of explain what pulled you in about restorative yoga?
What pulled me in was, this might sound crazy, sound silly, but it's like I just I don't do anything, like that part of it.
Oh,
And yeah, so it's like I just get in the pose and I get to stay there because let's be honest, like when I get into a restorative position, like usually it's one of my favorites. And when I'm teaching the class, I keep saying, oh yeah, this is my favorite. And the one student pointed out, she's like, are they all your favorite? Because you say that after every one we do. So yeah, maybe. Okay. But it was like the permission. It was the permission that I could just go into a pose and that it was benefiting me.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I wasn't doing anything. Anything.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quotation marks.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of air quotes. It kind of just hits a little bit of a spot where what I'm hearing you kind of say is that perhaps you're busy and you're on the go all the time. And like this was permission to carve out space for yourself to rest and to, get into that relaxation space. Is that right?
Yeah. Because I'd always sort of, whether this was just part of my upbringing or whatever, but if you're not doing something, then you're being lazy. So, that was a little bit in there. So it was no, this is a benefit to your body. This is a benefit to your emotions and your thought processes and your very being to get into stillness. And it was like, what?
Yeah. So even that, like overcoming the thought patterns and the condition to always be doing something, it kind of reminds me of my grandmother at her last place didn't have a bathtub. And I remember
Mhm.
thinking that she only had a shower. And I remember thinking, like, oh man, like, don't you miss having baths? And she said she's never been a person to take a bath because she just feels like she couldn't just sit there in the bath, like that she was getting like up and going and cleaning her body and then getting on with it kind of thing. There wasn't this ability for her to even take a bath, like take 10 minutes or whatever out of her time, just even sit there and enjoy a bath. And I thought, oh my gosh. So it kind of runs into this whole thought of, you said something like, I don't know if this was my upbringing or
Mhm. Mhm.
can you maybe go into a little bit more about that? Like, what do you mean in
Well,
regards to?
yeah,
Yeah,
because I'm just now thinking about that story you just said about your grandmother. I was like, bathing, like when I was a young person, was functional. Like it was just a functional thing. There was no linger, like hurry up and get out because there's three others that need to get in. If you're
right.
not bathing with all of them in the
Yeah.
first place.
Yeah, yeah. Got it. I know.
And um, I don't know. Maybe it was part of being like four kids growing up, but they had to keep us busy. Otherwise, you get yourself into a little bit of trouble or you're
Mm,
underfoot, maybe. But it was like we always had a schedule when I was growing up of the things we had to do. And if you weren't going to be doing something, then you had to kind of be out of sight because they would find something for you to do. Meaning
mm.
my parents, right? Like
Yes.
they're like, well, I can, if you've got nothing to do, like, I got something for you.
Yeah, the classic "I'm bored," "I'm
I've
bored."
never been bored a
Yeah.
minute in my life. Not a
Yeah.
minute.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's so interesting, right? Because why do you think it is? And perhaps that this is, I mean, I'm certainly in my life, I think that the women in my family are constantly busying themselves with things. Like there's always just tasks to be done. If it's not cooking or cleaning, or just there was a very rare moment that I would see my mom enjoying a book or doing something for her. And, that kind of, has stuck with me a little bit in the way of now, in terms of even showing my children that, like, it's okay to rest, it's okay to relax, it's okay to do things and plan things for you and your own self to enjoy. And so that's been a big part of like my motherhood journey as well. So I still go
Hmm.
out and do things and go to the movies and plan things with friends that the kids aren't coming along with, because I want to show them that I'm still myself too. I don't know. Anyways, but
Oh, yeah, you do
interesting.
know.
Yeah.
You do
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
But I mean, let's be honest, because culturally, we applaud busyness, we applaud productivity, right?
Mhm.
Like as a society, they're like, oh, look what they've accomplished. We applaud that kind of thing. So telling someone that I didn't do anything today, like,
Right. The judgment piece, maybe.
there might be a little bit of that, but not necessarily. But I'm not saying, like you said, finding time for things that you enjoy. Because I don't have to be working, I guess is what I should say. I don't have to
Right.
be working at something that someone deems valuable, someone else
Right.
deems valuable. I can do things that are important for me. And part
Right.
of that is taking care of myself, which
Right.
is something that I learned in my adulthood long after my children were little, grown
Yeah.
up.
So it's
Yeah.
so interesting because I'm just thinking now that it's almost as if we prioritize the doing and the success first and the
Hmm.
accomplishments first, and then our self-care and our rest and relaxation second. Thinking even just like meeting somebody in the grocery store, it's like, what are you up to now? Or, what kinds of things are you
Yeah.
doing
What are you
now? You're
doing
just,
now?
yeah, right? It's like that's like the point of a conversation starter.
Hmm.
And can you kind of let us know what you feel like restorative yoga could do to kind of change that narrative? Instead of, I mean, maybe I should precede that question by, what do you think the impacts of having this doing, always doing, working all the time mindset? What do you think how do you think that's taken a toll on us?
Well, I think I'm just going to speak from my own
Mm,
personal experience is that um, it, for me, it was getting myself to, I recognize now in the age that I am
mhm.
that I'm a delayed gratifier. So I'm like, oh, I'll just finish this and then I'll go to the bathroom or then it's like trying to sort of deprogram myself from that thinking. But then also is that it's like The stopping would happen when I was exhausted or I'd get sick and then I'd have to lay down. Like I'd have to be resting. And I'd had that a few different times in my life for unknown reasons. Let's just put
Mm.
it that way,
Mhm.
where I all of a sudden couldn't go to work because of what was going on for me physically. Having this tool or having restorative yoga in my life can, even if I don't do it every day, I know it's there. My
Mhm.
yoga mat's sitting there. I know that I can bring that in and I know that I'll be a better person for it.
Mhm.
So I just think that like we're fatigued. We're fatigued. People are stressed. Even if they don't think they are, there's low grade stress. Let's talk about, chronic stress, things that your deadlines at work, or there's all kinds of things that can amp us up and get us into our sympathetic nervous system. So then the other processes in our body don't function, like our digestion, or we don't have our respiration isn't as great or as deep or as efficient. So yeah, I
Mhm.
just think that over time, when we're stressed, then yeah, it can bring on a myriad of issues.
Mhm. So, can you tell folks that maybe don't have an understanding about what restorative yoga is about, what they could expect if they were walking into a class, and how you think, again, that it is helping ease these symptoms or ease stress in people's lives and find that calm?
Okay, so walking into a class, and I do know that some people do struggle with restorative coming in, that it's hard to drop into the relaxation. So, what we're wanting to do when we're coming into the practice is coming into a pose, is just having the knowledge that we're going to invite ourselves to relax in the position that we're in, that we're being supported in, and to give ourselves time and space to do that, which is why the poses are held longer, because it might take certain people longer to drop into relaxation, so that we're practicing that mindful stillness. So we're not sleeping, we're in a pose, whether we're thinking thoughts or, creating our grocery list, regardless, we're in a position in the stillness, allowing for the benefits of the position that you're in to deepen into the body, allowing ourselves to get into relaxation, which is why the propping and all of that is so important, so that you're not feeling like you're holding it. So,
Mhm.
did that answer your question?
Yeah, it did. And just kind of honing in on that idea about props and about not being scared of using supports. And in fact, in restorative yoga, props are definitely your friend. And we're talking like bolsters and straps and blankets and bean bags and
Blocks and eye
yes.
pillows and
I
rolled up mats and other rolled blankets and
Yeah, I think
comfy
that's why
socks.
yeah, when we're talking about restorative yoga, I think like deliciousness because it's just like,
It
you're
is.
allowing yourself just to, yeah, be so comfortable. Like, I mean, that you're not even feeling like a fold in the mat. Like everything is
That's
just
right.
so comfy that you can enter into these deep states of relaxation to really help your body heal.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've heard that people have a resistance to this idea. It's kind of along the same idea of meditation. It's like, I'm not a good meditator. Or maybe being nervous about having to sit still and being uncomfortable. So, could you offer up any sort of ideas that folks could lean towards in regards to these barriers and not wanting to sit in the stillness and perhaps acknowledging anything that kind of bubbles up?
Sure. First of all, they don't have to do it. If they're absolutely uncomfortable, then the invitation is always to come out of the position. Find something that does suit you better. That being said, I do also invite people to then, if they're in a position and they're starting to feel something, whatever that is, that makes them feel like they're going to fidget or want to get out of it, it's like just try and take a couple of breaths and see how you feel after that. It's like giving yourself permission. There's no have tos, right? Everybody's got bodily autonomy and you can do what you need to do. But give yourself a few breaths. Does that sensation subside? Is it still there? Are you okay with it? Can you be okay with whatever sensation is rising up? Maybe you are. Maybe today you're not, maybe tomorrow you will be. Who knows? But giving each person permission to know that they're okay and they can move if they need to. Do what they have to support themselves. We need to support ourselves emotionally, our own comfort. honestly, my feeling is that they've come to restorative for a reason. So give it a whirl.
Hmm.
And also, too, some people's hesitation coming in is hesitation with positions that can cause a bit of stress with some people is that they're being supported. Like as a practitioner, if I'm going around and I'm in a class like in person, like I'm gonna, hey, can I help you with this? And some people just really shy away from that, whether they know that they're doing that. They're like, oh no, no, I'm fine. Oh no, no, I'm fine. Oh no, no, I'm fine. You know, I'm guilty of it. Totally guilty of it. So
Hmm.
allowing yourself to be supported, allowing yourself to receive the help to be supported, allowing yourself to relax, allowing yourself to sit with sensations. If it's pain, of course, you're out of it. You get out of it. But if it's something that maybe you can take a breath or two and deal with, or sit with, or even ask, what's this about?
Hmm.
Yeah, that's where the juice happens.
It's so interesting because I feel like these are skills that can be translated in other areas of our lives. And when you're saying that people, or even again, speaking from the eyes, struggle sometimes to ask for help or to be
Mm-hmm.
supported, it's interesting that these practices can then help us maybe shift into understanding the depths that we can go if we do decide to lean on that support a little bit more.
Yeah. And trust me, when I say people, I mean me.
Mm.
Like, honestly, when I say people, because I know if I'm doing it, if I experience that or have experienced it, that means somebody else has.
But it's so interesting that we do this to ourselves in the way of, and I know that, again, speaking from the eye, that if
Mm-hmm.
you're in a yoga class and you have to cough or you need to move your foot or anything in these deep relaxation poses, you don't allow yourself to do that. It kind of reminded me of when you were saying that I'm like a person of, oh my gosh, what was it? Like later gratification,
Delayed
delayed
gratification, delayed
gratification,
gratifier. Yeah.
where it's like you only allow yourself to do something if you accomplish the task at hand
Yeah.
first. And even like going to the bathroom, it's so crazy. So do you think that people have learned this disconnection from their bodies? I can only do XYZ once I get these tasks completed. I just feel like there's like this disconnection, right? Which kind of rounded back to my comment about not allowing yourself to like itch your nose if you needed to itch your nose or move your foot slightly to make it a little bit more comfortable for yourself. Like
Mm-hmm.
why don't we allow
Why
ourselves
don't
those? It's so interesting. I feel like for me personally, does it come down to this idea of being seen as a burden or being seen as a nuisance or an annoyance? Like if I'm going to cough in classes, am I going to cause somebody else to come out of, you know, their relaxation a little bit more, or,
Yeah. Because
there's all
heaven
these,
forbid I bother someone.
right.
Heaven
There's
forbid.
so many things, but I really,
By sneezing,
yeah.
coughing. I mean, but honestly, like I said, I'm speaking from my own personal experience that, yeah, and
Mhm.
it takes time. For me, it took time, still taking time, still working with it, patience, practice.
I think too that environment also plays a big role in being able to get into that relaxation mode. And
Hmm.
so, how do you offer your students that space, that safe space to then be able to trust you while they're in these positions? Because some of these positions can last upwards of what, like 20 minutes or more,
Yeah, depending on the
depending.
pose. Yeah, like something like constructive resting pose could easily be 20 minutes. I would say 10 to 15, depending on what the position is that we're in. And the key for the environment, as far as I'm concerned, is being able to hold space for someone. And that might sound like a bit hokey or kooky or whatever, but also clearly defining that they have permission to just be themselves, do what they need to do to support their bodies and to support what they're feeling while they're in the position, and knowing that um, I'm in the room, I'm here, I can see, I've got them energetically,
Mhm.
I've got them.
I think that that's so important, Cindy. And it made me think about the safety and this allowance of release of whatever comes up in terms of emotions. And have you witnessed or have you yourself had profound releases or revelations through restorative yoga at all?
Yeah, oh, yeah, for sure. When I can think of one in particular, being in a supported child's pose.
Mhm.
and not really being conscious because it's supported child. It happens to be one of my favorites. It's shocking.
One favorite.
One of the favorites. So being in supported child's pose and not recalling that I was having any particular thoughts around anything. It just felt like I was resting into the position and the next thing I knew I was crying.
Mhm.
So it took a second to allow myself to not try and pull it back, just to sort of let that flow.
Mhm.
I wasn't sobbing, I wasn't being loud, but still, my initial instinct was, oh, this is weird. But then letting that flow, and then to this day, not even really not knowing why, just realizing that, okay, that position helped release something in my body, and I don't have to know. I
Mm.
don't have to know what it was about, but clearly it was there. Something about those hips opening, maybe.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
commonly hear that, right? That we store our emotion in our hips. And so I think
Hmm.
that, yeah, something like the restorative poses that you talk about, it was the constructive rest pose or what was the one that you just mentioned? The
Oh, it was
butterfly.
supported child.
Supported child.
Child.
Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, we could unpack that for a while, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I was just thinking about, I don't know, is the psoas release a part of the restorative yoga repertoire or is that completely different?
It's not completely different. Obviously, the psoas muscle is a entity unto itself. There's
Hmm.
so much that can go on with that, or deep richness in the psoas muscle, but it is part of the restorative program. In fact, that I teach constructive resting pose. So, constructing resting pose is, if we're doing it for like 10 or 15 minutes, would not be considered a psoas release, but it has a lot of those same benefits because you can do it without the strap, without the block, without the distance of the feet to the buttocks, and you can do it in your own way. But if you extend it, then it becomes more of a psoas release.
Right. Okay, because I was just recalling my experience in the 200-hour YTT where we got to play around with the slow as release. And I remember we did it a couple of times. And the
Hmm.
first time, I don't think that I was giving myself permission to fully feel the effects of the release. And then one of the Kula mates had mentioned a mantra that she was just repeating to herself. And it was, I am safe, I am safe, I am safe. And so I took that in with me the next time that we did the SOAS release. And I had some major shifts. When I went into YTT, I was about a year postpartum. And I had
Hmm.
had some stuff go down with my tailbone on giving birth. And I was seeking support with a chiropractor and trying to do all the things about sitting right while nursing and whatnot, and just being more aware of my alignment. And it wasn't until I got into the second SOAS release that I could literally feel my entire lower back, like the spine
Hmm.
release. And then it was really like an orgasmic experience. I don't know how
Yeah.
else to explain it except for perhaps it was a mixture of this deep relaxation and thought, and that allowed me to get there. But afterwards, the pain in my tailbone was minimized. Like I just couldn't believe it. I had been going for months to the chiropractor and it was just
Hmm.
around this. So like maybe in like a unhealthy way, I kind of got a little bit, I would almost say like addicted to doing the psoas release here at home. Like like not necessarily getting to that piece where I was always feeling that, but just it really did bring a lot of comfort to my tailbone. And I just always attribute that to these kinds of poses now and just
Yeah.
allowing yourself to get there.
Allowing yourself to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And using, like, I love that yeah, your friend had a mantra, like
Yes.
using the tools in your repertoire or in your little toolkit to help you. Yeah.
Right.
So it's like, okay, I wasn't really getting it, but then I use this mantra, and the next thing I know, here's this release that I'm getting.
Right.
Awesome.
It's like
Yeah.
this like combination of things, I'm sure, that helped for sure.
Well, because we're complex human beings, right? We're complex beings.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's not just one thing
that's right.
that can help us.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Are you passionate about meditation but find you've lost focus and inspiration in recent years? Are you searching for the right techniques to help create a meditation practice? Our online meditation teacher certification explores this expansive and life affirming practice in a way that honors your individuality. When it comes to meditation, we all need something unique, and this course offers you endless creative options so you can uncover the style that works best for you. head over to devatree.com, devatree.com to get started today. See you there. And so you've mentioned before too that if somebody was feeling some sensations, you would invite them to feel it out and send some breaths and just see if that changes anything. Does the breath play a major role in restorative yoga?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Being able to breathe while you're in a position. And obviously when we fall in, we go into relaxation, our breath is going to become shallower, right? Because we're just not as much as required of us.
Mhm.
But to be able to use something such as like recalibration breath to inhale and then exhale any unwanted energies or any negative feelings, like just imagining, like using our imagination along with our breath. As I know for myself, that recalibration breath is one of the ones that I use just regularly, like if I feel stressed. So knowing that you can have that little tool, if something is bubbling up, that maybe I could take a breath and blow it out gently. um, that's also, then I'm just being reminded too that when I'm saying to see if you can use breath to subside it, it's not meaning to shove it away or lock it down.
Okay.
And somehow it's like, does the breath ease what's happening in my body? It's not that I'm trying to dispose of it in that
Mhm.
way, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
Okay, so interesting. It's yeah, like what you're saying. It's more of an acknowledgement of whatever it is that's going on for you in terms of the sensation or the feelings that you're feeling, the
yeah.
emotions, the actual
Yeah.
physical feelings. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. Yep.
How do you personally balance offering space for stillness while also holding space for any sort of discomfort that may arise in your students?
So when I'm in a session, because when I'm even teaching the program, there's always like little mini classes that I sort of instruct at either the
Mhm.
beginning or end of the sessions. So it's the holding space, but it's also that permission piece for people that they're okay. Like you're fundamentally okay. Regardless of what is coming up for you right now, you're not alone. I'm here with you, and you have the permission to not do this if it's overwhelming.
Mm.
So it's like, I invite you, I'm here to support you, I'm here to breathe with you, whatever you need while you're in a restorative position if something is coming up. And I'm also here to support you when and if you decide that I can't be in this position any longer and I'm going to roll to the side and just take a minute
Mm.
or do something different.
That's so
So
important,
yeah,
Cindy. What I'm hearing you say is that you offer, yeah, again, this allowance of whatever to come up. And also, I think that it's so important about the not being alone and
hmm,
holding space. And that's a big thing for folks right now because I know that there's a lot of suffering or feeling as though they don't have anybody else to hold space or go to when they're experiencing these deep feelings, and just being able to have a safe spot to land and to know that whatever comes up is okay. What
it's
do you,
okay.
yeah,
They're okay. We're okay. We're always okay. Our life might look like a shit show, but actually, we're okay.
especially when you have like the people in your life that you can, turn to.
Hmm.
And it's so cool that you get to be that in way of a restorative yoga teacher, right? When things bubble up for people in class and you're witnessing them moving through something, what does it look like in terms of supporting them? So say Sally's over in the corner and
Hmm.
she's physically got some tears going on, and then there's other people still sitting in their pose or resting in their pose. Are you going over to acknowledge that, or are you just letting it play out? And then what are you doing after class? How are you helping Sally walk away from that?
So it would be playing out. It would be playing out as it is. But normally, when I guide students into a position, and I let them know we're going to be here a while, knowing they have permission to do what they need to do. And then I'm in the silence. But if I see something such as that, like there's fidgeting or there's tears or there's something, then it'll be a gentle reminder that they can come out if they need to, that they have the beauty of their breath to help support them. But I would not be going over and doing anything in regards to that because that person's having their experience and I'm not going to interfere with that. whatever it is. I don't know if those tears are joy. I don't know that. The word allow is fundamental in restorative. So allowing them to have their experience. And then even after, sometimes it's letting them know that there's just a couple more minutes in the pose. How is your body? So that they know that there's a time frame. Like, can I do this for another 2 minutes? Then they might decide to come out, but it's spoken generally to the group so that it's allowing that who's ever doing whatever internally, that can continue or they can stop if they choose. And then as far as when class is over, if Sally wants to come up to me, she might. I'm not going to go up to Sally. It's her experience. If she doesn't require me to do anything,
And
yeah.
I was
I'm
just
not going to be
thinking,
like, oh, Sally, like you were really getting into it, eh? Look at those tears. Like, no.
so glad to see this stuff moving for you. Yeah.
Woo, girl. No, no.
Right, right.
I might be thinking it in my head, be like, ooh, some good stuff went on there. But
Yeah.
yeah, unless
Again, it's
Sally
not
approaches me,
right. It's not
yeah,
the teacher's business to know what's
yeah,
going on for their
no.
students in that way.
And trust me, when I have had, sometimes I've had your experiences in a position or in a class, and I get up and I'm literally in my head, don't freaking talk to me. I am head down, like I just need to get out of here and be alone.
Process.
I don't want to do anything with anybody.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
got that too.
I mean, I know we all the love and light, but sometimes it's like, wow, that was some hard shit.
Well, and that's
Yeah.
just it, right? Like restorative yoga offers people a chance for some like radical self-compassion. Like we're talking here about this permission and allowing and everything, right? And so, what has your journey been with self-compassion and what does it look like through your practice?
Honestly, we've touched on some of this before. A
Mhm.
little bit of the compassion for myself is what I would call maybe the deprogramming
Mhm.
of the what we said before about the busyness. Yeah. And having patience with myself, that's a big one, like honestly. And
Mhm.
that this kind of thing can take time. If someone has never gone into stillness before and they're always busy, busy, busy until they drop, until the end at the end of the day. Coming into stillness like this, when I say it can take practice, cut yourself some slack. I've had to do that. The thoughts of like, well, like what am I doing? Like what am I doing here?
Mhm.
So it's a little bit of patience, which is something I had to learn. That it takes practice, that it can take time, and it can be depend on the day. Let's not beat ourselves up. I have to remind myself that some days a constructive resting pose could last 20 minutes or half an hour, and other days it lasts 5 because I'm
Mhm.
done with it. Yeah.
Right. And so just
So
allowing it, yeah,
yes,
to
I'm
be what it is.
reminding myself that this day is just this day and
Mhm.
it doesn't reflect on me as a person.
There's
Yeah.
so many variables when you're walking into these experiences, right? And then it doesn't necessarily paint a picture of who you are and even how
Yeah.
the rest of the day has to play out.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. Oh, I only did 5 minutes. I could easily go there if I wanted to be nicely critical of myself, but reminding myself that's not what I'm here to do on this planet. So,
There's so many pieces. It's like this reminder of self-compassion and
mhm.
kindness and restorative yoga offering this allowance and permission. Have you noticed that restorative yoga, that there's any sort of connection between any sort of unresolved trauma or grief? Like, have you had anything major come up for you, or could that be potential for people? And then does that ever get into like a scary spot for anyone? Do you know what I mean? Or I guess the body only allows what what's meant to come up for you then, right?
Which is one of the things I do remind people of if we're in like a psoas release or an extended pose is that your body is intuitive and it is only going to give you what you have the ability to manage or the ability to handle or the ability to acknowledge or the ability to look at.
Mm-hmm.
You're safe,
Yeah.
so if something big does come up,
Mm-hmm.
then it's because it can. It's because you're
I,
absolutely able.
I just feel like that can be directly translated to any adversities or things that come up in life in general. I
Mm.
feel like a lot of the times we've heard this before. It's like nothing's thrown at you that you wouldn't be able to handle. Yeah.
Might feel overwhelming, but
Right.
fundamentally at the core of our being, the core of my being, I am able to be in this.
Right. And
Yeah.
then Do you think that that is a necessary piece, is moving through it, moving through the feelings, like that whatever it is to come up, to move past it? I've heard in our community before, when people are going through something and like you've got your little cheerleaders on the side saying like, yeah, this feels like shit right now, but this is so exciting because it's making space, it's making way for like the better things to come, the place that you're supposed to be in, and you're aligning with where you're actually meant to be. And so do you think that it's a necessary thing to feel the feels in order to get to that spot that we're supposed to be?
Absolutely. And I'm also so guilty of shoving them aside. Like, I can't deal with that right now.
Mm-hmm.
The reminder for me personally is to then go back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's not forget that you pushed that away so that you could go and do this work project, but we're going to go back to that. Yeah.
I'm sure
So,
that this may speak to other people, but definitely for
mhm.
me is then it always resurfaces for sure.
It'll be
Even
there.
when, yeah, even when we shove it down, it always does
It'll
resurface for
it'll
sure.
be there waiting for you some other time.
Man. Some other questions that I had here. Do you see restorative yoga as a form of activism in the world, in that it's constantly in a world that's like constantly, we talked about this, busying and pushing for productivity, and it's so fast paced and
Yeah.
moving?
Yeah. The practice of yoga itself, in whatever form it takes, is about our own personal experience, right? So with restorative yoga, it's very much to me is like if I'm in a space where I can allow myself to rest and relax and allow feelings or sensations to come up and know that I'm fundamentally okay, regardless of me being here in this 15-minute pose or whatever. Can you imagine? Why wouldn't I want that for everybody else?
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't I?
Right.
And if every person allowed that for themselves, I mean, I can't even speak to how that would shift our society.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's so interesting. In like this fast-paced world, do you think that again it's this disconnection from our emotions and an allowance of feeling that
Yeah,
also then leads to crippling bouts of depression and stress and anxiety and things that then trickle down and have an impact on the greater, our daily lives?
absolutely.
It's like a remedy.
Absolutely.
Restorative yoga as a remedy.
As a remedy, we're going
Is
to
that a
heal the
title?
world.
No.
Yeah, we're going to heal the world. One supported child's pose at a time.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I like it too.
What's one thing that you wish more people understood about the true power of restorative yoga?
Because what I was going to say with that previous one too is
Mm-hmm.
that love ourselves enough.
Mm-hmm.
Love ourselves enough to give ourselves, if it's not restorative yoga, something along the
Right.
lines.
Right.
Yeah. Love ourselves enough to give ourselves that permission.
Mm.
That's what I was going to say.
Mm.
Yeah. Even if you can have a moment of peace where your brain isn't running on full speed.
Mm-hmm.
I love movement. I love yoga movement. Sometimes my thoughts get in the way of, is my foot in the right spot? How am I going to transition to the next pose?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas restorative allows you that moment to just be.
And I know that you had mentioned it a little bit before, but what is like physiologically going on for people when we are getting into these deep states of rest and relaxation? What does restorative yoga allow to take place in the body?
So, this is where, when we come into the stillness, it allows us to drop out of our sympathetic nervous system, which is the one that's getting our tasks done. So it's allowing our heart rate to slow. It's allowing our breath to soften.
Mm-hmm.
It's allowing our autonomic nervous system to activate. So, like things like our digestion, our adrenal glands aren't firing,
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is where healing happens in the body, is when we're in that state. So it's different than sleep because we're in a position that's allowing for passive opening of joints or allowing a passive muscle movement so that the muscle gets putting into a position and then it's resting there, so that it's allowing for that to happen. So this is where we can slip into the healing processes of our body, and it can be just that simple.
Mm. I
I
think that
say
that's
simple and not simple.
right.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. Again, it brings me back to that whole SOAS situation that I had going on,
Yeah.
and being able to be in that state and actually see some like physical healing. And I know that we talk a lot about moving emotions, but I feel like there's some actual physical healing that can actually take place as well for folks.
Yeah, because honestly, if I'm busy and if I'm moving all the time, like I said, if I push that little thought or emotion away,
Mhm.
then coming into stillness will give it an opportunity to come back up for me to explore
Mhm.
in whatever fashion. I might choose not to, but
Right.
the opportunity is there.
Right.
Yeah.
And if restorative yoga was like a metaphor for your life, what would it teach you or teach us about how to live more fully?
I mean, because I think I'm understanding what you're saying.
Hmm.
So for me, it's like it actually provides balance.
Hmm.
There's a whole buzzword about work life balance. You don't want to be working yourself 100 hours a week and having no time for personal. So thinking about daily life or weekly time frame is that it makes the circle. It's like you can't have a circle if you're just doing one part of it. You have to bring, like, yes, work is important. Yes, tasks are important. Sleep is important, but rest is also important. And rest is different than sleep. So we need
Right.
the whole circle to be people that are functioning and happy and healthy. And
Optimal. And then also then
yeah,
a space that you can go and actually do these things at a desired level in way of your work and etc. Right? Like
exactly. Because that circle's going to come back around. I'm going to be ready to do the tasks.
that's right. So
Yeah.
interesting how that is.
Yeah. It's weird. Weird how that
Yeah.
works.
I love to think about how this has had such a profound impact on your life, but I'm also wondering about the practices in your life that are non-negotiables.
I would say when my dog Lucy, when she was still with me,
Hmm.
it was a non-negotiable that she and I we would walk in the bush every day, rain or shine, snow or sleet, whatever it was. That was a non-negotiable. And it
Hmm.
wasn't that I had to do it. I knew she enjoyed it. I knew I enjoyed it. And it was good for both of us, but that wasn't the reason. It wasn't the reason. It was getting a little emotional here. It was my love for her that I would do that.
Hmm.
So now when I said earlier to love ourselves enough to have something like that, whether it's restorative yoga or a walk or even reading with a cup of tea, like loving ourselves enough to have something like that where we can stop or be in stillness or be in nature, something that nurtures us and something that fills our cup.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Do you think that that you were doing this walk as a non-negotiable for Lucy? And do you think that that could be translated into anything for yourself? Like, do you think that you then recognize that it's important to also do this for yourself and not just because it was for Lucy?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I say for her, it was my love of her, my love for her that initiated it,
Hmm.
but I knew it was benefiting me 100%
Hmm.
so much. And I've said this before that she was the teacher I never wanted because boy, did I protest when she showed up in my life.
Mm. It's
Yeah.
Animals have
So,
an interesting way of doing that, right? So you're saying Lucy and animals, and I'm thinking about my dog too, and how
mhm.
there's so many things that come up. Children
Well, the
and
teachers come in all shapes and forms we don't even know and might just give us a spark of a potential, a spark of something new, a spark of a way to be.
Mhm.
I mean, our teachers, when I say all shapes and form, not all of them feel great when some of our teachers show up, but we'll learn something about ourselves in those moments. So, yeah.
Interesting. Well, thank you so much, Cindy, for this amazing conversation on restorative yoga and the allowance, the self compassion, the permission, and letting us know a little bit more about how it's impacted you and some of the students that you've had the blessing to teach. And where can people find you? Are you active on social media or?
Um, a lot less than I used to be. That might be changing in the near future. I'm not going to speak too much about that
Mhm.
at this time, but
Yeah. Thanks so much
you
for
might see
coming
me out
on.
there. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thanks for
Yeah.
having me.
Yeah. Love you, Cindy.
Love you.
Yay, you made it to the end of the Love Who You Are podcast. If you liked this episode, please subscribe and leave a review, or text a friend and share the love. These small actions make a big difference in this realm, and we thank you. And we have a present for you, a guide to creating and sustaining a home practice. In this free video, 7 experienced wellness leaders share what it takes to overcome the struggle of creating a home practice in anything: yoga, meditation, journaling, or whatever you'd love to do more of. You don't want to miss the wisdom of these incredible women. You'll find your free gift at devatree.com. That's DEVATREE.com. We'll see you next time, and know that you are loved.